talking about stop playing, stop playing. How did we move from scandals involving adultery and messy relationships to outright mugshots? This isn't your usual hip-hop and love drama. This is the mayhem of a real-life crime scene. Kirk and Mendeecees Harris are now handcuffed, and believe me, this isn't a planned reality TV fight. This is a real jail-time drama, and the frenzy was unstoppable. Was it Yandy's fault, or did someone finally lose it after Kirk Frost's constant nonsense? Fists were thrown, furniture was flying, and now Kirk and the men are in major legal problems. Did Yandy save the men? Is Rashima still standing by for VCs? We have all the specifics in jump footage. So sit back, hit the like button, and get ready for this drama, which is unlike anything we've seen before. Kirk Frost and Mindy say. Perk sighed after all this turmoil, and where in the hell was young Jock during all this chaos? Are you telling me that these grown men, fathers, and businessmen were just arrested for a brawl that looked like it was from a WWE match? Young Joes and Yandy Smith were somewhere stirring the pot like it was Thanksgiving dinner. Harris may have carried entire seasons of Love and Hip Hop, but they've never been involved in anything this crazy. The internet is exploding. The streets are bustling, and even the police had to intervene, which resulted in them being placed in handcuffs, arrested, and facing heavy penalties. This is reality TV gone utterly crazy, I promise you. And to be honest, this crazy takedown is nothing new for Kirk and the BBC. They have been embroiled in scandal for years. Scandals involving financial fraud, dishonesty, or general chaos after years of being in the spotlight. Kirk Frost, who has spent more than 10 years demonstrating that he is the king of untidy behavior, was discovered becoming overly cozy with a woman who was most definitely not Rashid. Scray so. You had best get some popcorn for this one. While NYC's was already boiling across the club. He had finally learned his lesson, but instead he was out drinking, laughing, and whispering sweet nothings as if his entire marriage wasn't on the line. According to rumors, he and Yandy had been fighting all day about something that happened on the Love and Hip Hop set. It appears that Yandy is still upset about that fictitious wedding that took place years ago, when these men led her to believe they were legally married, but later disclosed that the paperwork had never been filed. She never forgot, and based on the way things were going, she was going to tell him exactly how she felt, so tense sitting in VIP when he saw Kirk across the room. But it's not just because Kirk was sleeping with a lady who is typically a man. Let's be true reality stars, even though Dees wouldn't care. Since he and Rashida are so close, he didn't want Yandy to find out that he had seen Kirk creeping and said nothing. With Leva for drama, he marches directly up to Kirk's section and lights the match. According to witnesses, Mendeecees approached Kirk directly, expecting to smoke. There was no warning or build-up, just a direct encounter. Kirk, of course, tried to dismiss it as he always does, but come on, man. You know how it works, he pretended. That it was nothing major and attempted to make excuses, but Mendeecees wasn't buying it. Instead, he began yelling at Kirk, accusing him of embarrassing his family once more, saying that Rashida didn't deserve this and that Perk should be ashamed. Kirk retaliated, saying, "Man, worry about your own marriage before coming at me with that mistake, because if there's one thing about men, it's that they detest being reminded of their own messy past." People were screaming, tables were in disarray, security was struggling to maintain order. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get much worse, guys, young Jock was the focus of BC's attention. It's unclear why he was there, but one thing is certain: he wasn't helping. Rather than breaking the tension, the Jock began to run his mouth. As if things couldn't get any stranger, Kendra Robinson entered the scene. She should have been at home taking care of herself, but instead she walked right into the madness, and when she saw Kirk with that other woman, well, it was over. Kirk had been acting in this way for years, he said, essentially adding fuel to the fire, Kendra snapped. She wasn't just watching her husband fight in a nightclub, okay? She knew that Kirk was playing with the woman. The drama escalated from 10 to 10 seconds after the KRA snapped, pointing fingers, screaming, and setting the club on fire with accusations. Then, all of a sudden, the club was filled with red and blue lights, and the police arrived. Security was exhausted trying to keep the mess under control, but before they could even get Kirk Frost and Mendeecees Harris in handcuffs, the Atlanta Police Department wasn't playing around. As soon as they saw the flip tables, the spilled drinks, and the yelling crowd, they began making arrests. You know who they seized the moment first? Mendeecees VC has been dealing with legal drama for years. Seeing those cops must have broken his heart. The last thing he needed was to be arrested and handcuffed once more. Just when I thought he was finally free, he ended up back in trouble, and Kirk truly believed he could talk his way out of it. According to witnesses, Kirk attempted to act calm by telling the policeman, "Come on, man, this is nothing. Just a small misunderstanding," but the police weren't buying it. Numerous individuals had already accused Kirk and me of starting the entire mess when it looked like just Kirk and I were going down. Things took an unexpected turn. While the police dealt with Kirk, Kendra completely lost it. She was yelling and pointing fingers, and before anyone knew it, she lunged. An officer snapped, and that's it. Remember that Kendra is supposed to be the elegant, well-dressed lawyer? But at that point, she's coming with us too. Meanwhile, young Jock stood on the sidelines, somehow avoiding cuffs, just talking and shaking his head. Security had to apprehend her before she landed the hit. She had been acting like she was at a movie premiere, remaining silent until they cuffed me, at which point she lost it. "Oh my God, no, you're not taking my husband for this." "But the cops weren't playing, ma'am. If you don't back up, you're coming too," she said. Yandy quickly backed off, and now Kirk, M, and Kendra are all sitting in jail. As soon as their mugshots were made public, everyone went crazy, and Kirk was ridiculed for being caught cheating once more. I was made fun of for being Atlanta's most unbothered husband. Kendra was seen fighting with side chicks in a popular tweet, and her beau was smiling as if it were a picture of a family reunion. While Kirk was still trying to talk his way out of jail, he called Rashida using the same cliché excuses he had been using for 10 years. And guess what Rashida did? She hung up on him. Speaking of Rashida, what was she doing when all of this was happening? She was going about her business when she got the call, but as soon as she heard it, she snapped, telling insiders that she was done, packing her bags, and that we were getting a divorce. After Kendra was charged with further charges of attempted assault and disorderly conduct caused by public intoxication and disturbing the peace while resisting arrest. Everyone was rushing to see who would post bail first, but not everyone was feeling giving. Yandy declined to help him right away. You heard correctly. She was furious and asked him to sit down and consider what he had done. After that phone conversation, Kirk needed a fresh strategy for Kendra, even though he had assumed Rashida would be there, since he would be receiving divorce papers in the morning. If Kendra spent even one night in jail, young Jock was working behind the scenes to get her out. Meanwhile, the internet with celebrities and fans of reality stars were weighing in on this. And 50 Cent himself offered the most outrageous comment. The big shock is that the judge wasn't going along with the club drama. There were witness videos and severe charges. Love and Hip Hop had more drama than the Super Bowl. As the video played, you could feel the entire courtroom shift as the judge sat back with their arms folded and their head shaking. Kirk was losing it. Kendra swinging, let's get this straight. Once the video concluded, the judge simply said SED, while the police stormed in like they were at a WrestleMania event. You three grown adults believed it was a smart idea to bring a WV SmackDown to a fancy nightclub. Kirk attempted to be calm, but I remained silent, and Kendra yelled, "I know you did not just disrespect me like that." The judge was not impressed at all, and he leaned in and looked directly at Mendeecees. "Mr. Harris, you should know better. You battled to maintain your sobriety, and here you are in my courtroom again." The judge shook their head and said, "Oh, that's exactly what it was like. I just saw the footage and it was bad." They then turned to Kirk Frost and moaned, Began this whole thing, Mr. Frost, a middle-aged man who acts like a careless teenager and causes trouble in clubs. Mess with your thoughtless decisions, your lack of self-control, and your incapacity to remain devoted. Kirk sat motionless, as if he wanted to vanish, and then Kendra Robinson and Mrs. Robinson arrived. As a lawyer and a court officer, it is your responsibility to enforce the law, not to break it, but I just saw you try to physically harm another woman. Do you realize how unprofessional and completely absurd that looks? Kendra was crying, but she realized she had made a mistake. Swift was the judge's decision. Mr. Frost, you will be fined $10,000 and imprisoned for 30 days in the county jail. Perhaps a night out would help you reconsider your choices. The courtroom exploded. You will be placed on professional probation. Pay a $5,000 fine. And be required to attend infidelity and anger management counseling. Mrs. Robinson. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Yandy Smith gave Kendra gassed NVC, who was muttering under his breath, a firm reminder to stop before they added more time. She whispered that Kirk Pale was already anxious about how he had explained this to Rashida. Speaking of Rashida, she was posting cryptic Instagram messages, and a queen knows when to leave. Some people never change, and their fans were consuming it and motivating Kirk to post on the internet. Bro transitioned from hip-hop and love to locked up and hip-hop me in the interim. I tried to warn them, but fans roasted him, sir. You started this. Sit down. The memes were legendary. Yandy was in full damage control mode. As a family, we're handling this privately and learning from MC's mistakes, but the internet wasn't letting it slide. Yanjo ever went live, shaking his head. Kirk and MC's mug photographs were posted by 50 Cent on VH1 with a message. Love and Hip Hop Locked Up Edition coming next. In all honesty, he might not be mistaken. So now Kirk is frantically trying to keep his marriage intact. BC is keeping track of the days till he is freed. Rashida is out, and Kendra is hoping her career endures. Love and Hip Hop never ceases to provide the drama, but this may be the most outrageous scandal yet, and there may be more repercussions. This situation went from a club fight to a full-blown legal disaster. But who is really to blame? Did Kirk finally get what he deserved? Should the MVCs have simply left? Did Contra risk her entire career for a man who continues to embarrass her? What side are you on? Are lawsuits and possibly even an emergency VH1 cast meeting imminent? Is Kendrick's career over? Was the court too harsh? Did males from BC deserve the 30-day sentence? The tea is still, the narrative is far from over. So while you're here, press the like and subscribe buttons and enable notifications because hot and exclusive content is on the way.